I promise I'm going to do more videos. I've been really bad recently. Every time I get a day off, I think I should do a video, and then I get distracted by everything else. And then by the time vacation's done, I haven't done a video. So I wanted to do one on teams. And this is the thing, it's one of the things that divides us more than absolutely anything. My best friend of 27 years, now him and I are not friends because I said I don't believe in the system and I don't vote. And he said I was just being lazy, my opinions were stupid, not even asking why don't you vote? Because why is always the important question. Not what you do, why do you do it? And if you come up with a reasonable answer, I'll always let anything slide. If you have a good enough rationale, who cares? It's not written into the human DNA that you have to participate in politics to be a good person. That's not, you can be a good person and never have voted in your entire life. And if you do vote, I honestly believe it doesn't make a fucking difference. Because you'd see these posts like, the sector that doesn't vote the most is like young women. So the post said, if all the young women vote, you win. Which is completely not true, because all those women are not going to vote for... If they voted for the same thing, yeah, maybe. They're not all going to vote for the same thing. It's going to be distributed proportionately between all the parties. It's not going to change a fucking thing. So anyway, teams are the worst, because it's like, all it is ways to divide. Now, I think a team's politics is a really powerful one. Sports teams is another divider. You wear the wrong jersey in the wrong fucking section, you get your ass kicked. Religion is one of those things. It's like rich, poor, minority, majority, fucking, philosophical beliefs. It's everything. Everything is divided into teams. So there's so many ways to divide into teams, and almost everybody does it without thinking. I could meet someone who's I don't really have a political agenda. I don't like both parties. I think they both have a couple of good points and mostly dog shit, and all they do is you pick a side and you fight the other. That's all that happens. No progress. And this is what politicians want. They want you to be deadlocked in a tug of war that will never end, because that's how they win. That's how nothing changes. That's how they keep the status quo, which is good for the rich and them. So anyway, my best friend of 27 years valued his team, which is a political party, over our friendship. And this is how so many relationships are broken. You are out there rooting for your team, like I said, and it could be anything. Like, you could be a DC guy, I'm a Marvel guy. We both picked our team. I hate you because it's the easiest and most base, and also works the best against the majority of the population, which the majority of the population are not very bright. Or they're average intelligence, but they don't think. Like, logic is not their thing. A lot of that snap reaction thing. It's the same thing when I read a story about a cop kills a guy. Most first reactions are, fuck that cop. I go, tell me what happened so I can decide for myself. And most of the time you're going to find there's extraneous circumstances. Something happened. Cop had to do it because this guy had a hostage or blah, blah, blah. Almost across the board, there's usually a reason. Now, I'm not talking about some of these cases where the cops just use deadly force. That's just, for no reason. That's not what I'm talking about. But in most cases, you can find a reason why the cop reacted the way he did, or something that at least makes it more palatable, where you're not completely 100% anti-cop. I understand, like, different countries, like, our cops are very, very light here. They're not the fucking heavies like you get in the States or some other countries where they just crack skulls and that's it. So, but even then, even in a country like that, there are still good cops out there. They're not all bad. But it's very easy to become a bad cop, I think. I don't know, I get off on these fucking tangents. So teams are the worst. And I think you can have a team. Like, you could be, I'm not religious, but I don't hate people that are. I've heard that all the time. Oh, you're religious, I hate you. No, I don't hate you if you're religious. I don't hate you if you're Muslim. I don't hate you if you're black, white, Chinese. Pick the fucking thing. I don't. But I do hate you if you're from a country that treats women like shit and you treat women like shit. Or if you're the type that, has no problem with humanitarian, like, over in China where all these fucking horrific, it's the fucking word I can't, human injustices happen, where the government can just do whatever it wants. I don't believe in that shit. I don't believe in countries that treat their women like garbage, of course, because that's not. And I always make the joke, and yes, I'm a comedian, it's a joke. We never should have given women the vote, but because we have, now we have to go by that. I'm just joking, it's just funny. But anyway, I don't hate anybody for what they are. I hate them for what they do. So if you're the complete opposite human being to me, like, I'm very light, this person could be dark. I'm not religious, they might be super religious. I'm not political, they might be political. I like video games, they hate computers. But I can still get along with that person. It's happened many, many times. The only time it wouldn't is because the other person really puts their team ahead of everything. Like, there are Muslims out there, and most Muslims are fucking absolutely cool. I've met a bunch of them. They're all very nice. Some of the nicest people I've ever met. But there are Muslims out there that believe if you're not Muslim, that's a crime, and you need to be killed. Like, fuck you. It's the same thing if you're Christian. If you're Christian, you believe everyone should be Christian. Fuck you. You know, if you're completely not religious at all, an atheist, and you hate people that are religious, fuck you. You know? You don't need religion to be a good person, but if that gets you through the fucking day, who's anybody to say whatever? You're not hurting anybody. What your personal belief system is has nothing to do with anybody. It doesn't change. Unless you're somebody who has enough money and power to fucking really make change and hurt minorities or hurt women or hurt whatever. Who cares? Here's another rant I go on. I fucking hate anybody who divides everybody into teams. And I also hate anybody... Like, you can meet someone who's a racist. I've met a lot of racists in my life. And the weird part is Canada is not used to dealing with minorities because we only opened our doors, like fully opened to immigration relatively recently. So it's been mostly a white country for a very long time, especially smaller towns. We're not used to dealing with minorities. So you meet somebody who says, I hate blank. And I go, I don't agree with you, right? But you can hate blank. And as long as you're not beating the shit out of them in the streets, who does that hurt? Nobody. Not a fucking person. You can be the most ignorant, and that's your right. You're allowed to be ignorant. You're allowed to be stupid. You're allowed to be racist. The thing that bothers me is you can't be racist if you're white. You can be black and hate white people all day. You can be Chinese and hate the Japanese. No one has any problem with it until it comes to white people. And then you're not allowed to be racist. You know why that is? That's white people being condescending, saying, you're better than all those other minorities. Don't hate them because you're superior. No, I'm allowed to be as ignorant and stupid and hateful as I fucking want to be. I'm no better than anybody else. I'm not better because I was born white. I don't have any advantages. Trust me, I've been turned down jobs because I don't speak French well enough or because they have to hire a certain amount of women. I actually lost out in animation school because of that. They had to hire, there were 2 women in the class. And one of them was not very good at all. The other one was, I was slightly better than her only because I worked harder. And they both got in and I didn't because I'm a male. And I'm a white male who has all the advantages, so I'm not allowed to have handouts. So to me, racism is racism. Whether it's, you know, white guy hates a Chinese guy, black guy hates a white guy, those are completely equal to me. It's based in ignorance and stupidity. So to me, all things should be either... We're all allowed to be racist and all allowed to say whatever the fuck we want, or nobody can. And not depending on who's doing the hating, what color is your skin. If you're black, it's go for it, man. You can crap on whitey all day. I'm not better than you. And I have more in common with regular, everyday, working black folk than I do rich white folk. I have nothing in common with those fucking overlord cocksuckers who take everything. So to me, what you think in your head, you're allowed to think. It's your fucking head. If you want to fill it full of hatred and really ignorant shit, that's on you, as long as you don't hurt somebody. And I mean, calling names is bad. It does cause pain. But you know what's worse than being called names? Having the shit kicked out of you. So as long as you're not kicking the shit out of somebody, you're still spreading hate. You might cause problems later on, like you're making fun of a guy because of his race or religion. Maybe that guy will find you later and kick your fucking head in, which you started it. So I don't really see a problem with that. But as long as you're not going out there and beating up gay people because you hate the gays, like, hate them if you want. Hate them all you want. It's your personal fucking beliefs. And as long as it doesn't affect another human, who gives a shit? But as soon as it does, yes, then that becomes a problem. And you're going to find most people that are very hateful, bigoted, racist are just that. They're just hateful, bigoted, and racist. They say this shit. It's a lot of this, and no action is taken. They're trying to pin their hate on something, and they're being ignorant about it. Well, the gays now are a thing. They're not hurting anybody. But I'm seeing a lot more of them, so fuck. Like, no. But you're allowed to. You're allowed to say it and think whatever you want. That's what this thing called free speech is all about. I think I'm just compiling a bunch of rants today because I've missed a whole lot. I'm a big believer. I never used to think this. Well, you're not allowed to be hateful in free speech. Yes, you are. Because if you suppress hatred, it means that they're going to take it to the next step. Well, we're not being heard. Okay, now we have to start doing something about it. You let everyone get their fucking frustrations out verbally because then it doesn't go to the next step. I got to do one on logic. I had a couple more rants. I have them written down. I can't remember what they are, but I definitely want to do one on logic, and I have to do one on online gaming. But I get these rants, and then my fucking brain is so scattered. I also have to do one updating on the arc I've gone on. And it's not, you're not going to, oh my God, it's the most fascinating story in the world. But just to hear a human story go from point A to point B, where there's great changes, there's great improvements. I've learned a lot. This last year was probably the hardest year of my life, but I've learned a lot from it, and I've learned how to deal with my problems. The biggest one is depression. Depression fucking blows ass. And I don't have the type of depression where it's so chemically bad I can't control it. If it does depend on your outlook, you can always make things better, but I've never had that kind of depression where you just by default depressed. Like even at your happiest, you're still depressed. So I can't comment, oh, you just, why don't you be positive? And that's pretty much bullshit too. It helps. The only thing being positive helps with, if you're positive, it makes hard things easier. Like you can take bad news better. But also, if you're super positive, it means when you do crash, you fall from way higher. Now I had that going on where I was ultra positive, and then all the shit hit the fan, and then I just fucking fell and just crashed. I got nothing to fall back on. Like I wasn't raised with a super close family. I don't have any of that. So basically, the only one that's going to stand up for me is myself, because I've done that where I'm online and you mention, things aren't going so great right now, and then you just get attacked. Oh, why don't you try being positive? Stop being such a pussy. Yeah, I got the gun in my mouth. Is that really the best time to be telling me not to be a pussy? Like, I've never had a gun in my mouth, but you know what I mean. So then you get your best friend attack you when you're pretty much at one of the lowest points in your life. And not just attack you, but do it in front of everybody else on Facebook. Yeah, thanks a lot. That's a friend for you. Not considering maybe I'm not having a great day, or, just a fucking scrape of fucking humility and humanity and fucking concern might have actually pulled me out of it. But what actually did happen was I got so mad at my best friend that now it shook me out of my depression. And now I just want to live long enough to see him suffer. Whatever way I get out of it, man, like fucking petty revenge. Okay, well, I'll do it. Anyway, I do have more videos. I do have more rants. It's just, I gotta fucking organize my thoughts. This is what happens. Little hungover, little scatterbrain. Got a bunch of shit I want to say. It all comes fucking flying out. No editing, just stream of consciousness. So as long as it's fucking more entertaining than a sharp stick in the eye, right?